Fair to say that there might have been a feeling in the summer in Australia that it was a series where should have won at least one of the games. But despite the upward trajectory, it's 9 losses. I just suppose, firstly, when does that become a bind? And is there a feeling of anxiousness going into the series?
I think that's a good question in terms of, you're going down. Clearly, we were picking players who with their first caps hadn't started for their teams, but there's that balance off between, okay, you get an exposure to international rugby to hopefully accelerate you as a player, but then you don't want to get scarred by losing. You don't want that to become something that. So it's that difficult balance of that. But what we've had is some really good experience back. So which has helped the group, and in terms of taking ownership of what happens on the field, what happens off the field, and hopefully that's going to be the thing that they're taking more of, is like, okay, this is how I do it. This is how I do my rehab, my prehab, because the margins of winning and losing international rugby are so small. So yeah, it's but the development has been and will still continue to be, but we need to show improvement, and we need to show that we are going the right direction. Yeah.
How much of a threat is this first game, given 11 months ago at Bordeaux, different circumstances, too close for comfort not winning?
Yeah.
Usually Fiji and the South Sea Islanders, it's not a cliche to say that they find it difficult during this time in terms of development. Well, how do you view them? How do you view them on the weekend?
Well, incredibly dangerous. Yeah, they're coming down the short side. You think there's nothing on. It's like a 4v4 or a 4v3, and they'll get someone free, and once they get behind you, it's so difficult to stop. We did a lot of work on them in the World Cup, and that first game, you're like, at any point they can go, they can score, but then at any point they can make a mistake, and so it's about us. And the thing I talked about earlier was about, what are we? What do we stand for? What's our principles? What do we do? And the first port of call is us. If we get that right, then we'll be okay. But if we get over anxious about what they could bring, then you're sort of going away from what it is you need to do to win. So it's that balance for us. But we have like a huge amount of respect for them. We in the World Cup. We got away from them. We got a couple of scores up, and then before you know it, if they hit 12 short on that last play, he's going under the sticks, and it's a different story. So. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one for us.
Just a final one, others come in. A housekeeping question: is there anybody unavailable for this game in terms of injury?
No, we're pretty good. We've had everybody training today, so yeah, we're pretty good spot there.
John, does it matter what it looks like? Was it just about getting a win somewhere else?
I think it doesn't matter. The win we take, clearly. But again, it's if we get the processes and everything about what we try and do on a day-to-day basis right, then we've got more chance of getting over the line and getting that win. And it's like the thing that we can't do is just focus on an outcome. You can't do that, because this game is about minute by minute, second by second, and it's like the only thing we can actually control is the process. And if we end up with a great process and get an ugly win, we'll probably just take an ugly win.
With the voices in camp, that's obviously there's been such a high turnover in players in the last 12 months. Previously it might have been a bit easier to get out. There's sort of right when you've got boys around who've been there for 100 caps. I'm just curious who are the voices in camp that you're probably going to be giving the squad to try and get yourself out? There's been
some really good ownership. Like we get people like Gar Tom and Dewi, Adam Beard, Will Rowlands, Jack Morgan. There's lots of boys who are responsible for lots of facets of the game. You'll have your scrum, your line-outs, and your defence leaders, and you can see the growth in that, because last year's Six Nations, when we clearly ended up bottom, but the camp never felt like that, because it was young guys who were first experienced, and they were trying to learn, they were trying to get better. But you could see sort of the growth over a shorter period of time, that they now sort of understand what it's about and add in a voice. But we've missed people like Jack. He's a big figure here. Beatty in the summer, and Will Rowlands for a period of time. So we got and Thomas and Gareth coming back. It's like you get in a lot more voices around that.
It's slightly from me. Obviously, everybody associates, free-flowing, expansive stuff, rugby, teams like Fiji. What do you make of their set piece, then? Is it a dangerous game to underestimate and mean tight as well?
Yeah. You go back to the World Cup. We were going well. We scored a maul try and got a yellow card from it and stuff, and you feel right, you're in control. I think we were like 18 points up or something like that, and all of a sudden we get a yellow card, and then they come through us at scrum time, and it's a different game. So I don't think for a second there's any underestimating what they bring there. You look at the Pacific Nations Cup. They're big men. So no, we certainly don't underestimate that.
I was thinking about you as Scotland were getting that maul try. I said, he's going to be looking at that and thinking, it went so well in Australia that with a few more people coming back, it should be pretty efficient this time.
We work hard at it. We do. It's trying to make it part of our DNA. We've done it since the World Cup. We just did unbelievable amount of work in Turkey in 40 degrees heat, doing all that. So there's a backlog of work there. So it's something that we do pride ourselves on. But equally, if we don't get what it is that we do right at the right time, then it could bite us in the ass. So we're conscious of that. We're conscious that we do have something that is good in our game, but we just got to continue to work on that. And Fiji, for large parts of that, were very good in that multi. So, yeah.
When you look at that game last weekend as well, when they had the ball, there must have been 20 minutes of the game where they had the ball, they were very dangerous, very difficult to stop.
Yeah, and you're watching that, and there's points in that game where it could be a lot closer than what it was. They got off. Scotland got off that massive start of 13 men. Like that game is close at that point. It's completely different, and we're aware of that.
Have you tapped into Tandy's brain?
I haven't spoken to him since then. I did speak to him before, but I haven't spoken to him since then. I think
because they have put a huge number of tackles.
Yeah, they do. It's their ability to offload in the tackle, which like you say, everybody's got to work within that process right across the board. So, yeah.
So they've got about 8, 9, 10 players coming back in for this week. But how's it been having your senior players come back in? What difference has that made to the camp?
It's a huge difference for us. It's a huge difference because we get experience off the bench, so it gives us that depth. And for large period, you think about how many games are decided in that last sort of 20 minutes of the game. It's in international rugby, it's the majority of them. So. And what we've had is replacing inexperience with inexperience, and that's fine. But at least it allows us now to replace some experience with some experience, and try to get it. Because one of the big thing that wasn't getting us over the line was the fact that we had little impact in that area off the bench. So hopefully, what we got now.
We'll be able to close out games.
Yeah, that's hopefully what it will give us.
Thanks.
John, with Archie Griffin, obviously what he's been through the last couple of weeks, he said he's fully fit in his training, but do you have to manage him a bit?
No. I spoke with him a lot during that period, you know, because I got a son who's not far off the same age, so just on a purely, you know, personal note, I wanted to make sure the kid, you know, he's all right. So, and to see him, you know, progress through and then make a remarkable recovery. You know, he hasn't been monitored, or he's just got out and done a huge workload really, and felt good for it.
Just to be clear on that point, it's not a permanent condition. It is something that you fully recover from.
Yeah.
So that's because obviously there's great progress in the summer, didn't he? So
Yeah.
it's good that he's maybe look to continue doing that.
Yeah, I think, you know, Archie's going to be a big part of this squad for a long time. We have a lot of confidence in what he can bring for us.
Just lastly, I know it's not your area of expertise, but one of the players coming back is Thomas, who's been playing really, really well for Gloucester. What difference can he make given the form that he's shown at club level so far?
Again, that voice, you know, he's a leader. You got him and Gareth who have been, you know, experienced, and it's given us that sort of, I don't know, the leadership part on the field, the leadership part in training. So yes, it's you know, it's been good. It's been good to have him back. So yeah, it's been good.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, everyone.